on, record in progress. I pressed the button.
It's recording.
Thank goodness. Yeah, now it is. Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Highly Taken Podcast. Back to you again from the weekend. David Seekberg, Tallahassee, Florida.
Christian Smith, out to Maryland in a car.
Yeah.
Nick back at you from Jacksonville. Let's get it, guys.
Yeah, first of all, I will say, Christian, I'm digging the jacket. Really nice jacket.
Appreciate.
But yeah, today is the weekend, so I guess we're going to have to go with Gone in 60 Seconds, and as this has turned into whatever I want to talk about for a minute, we're going to talk about a little bit of rant here. It's something that Christian has brought up before. We're going to complain about people who complain about the refs all the time. And it's going to come from... We're going to come from...
Nick Cage on these We're
going to come from Baltimore Ravens fans right now. A lot of people in the league are saying that the Ravens-Chiefs game was rigged, and that's farther from the truth. They were just outplayed. Lamar looked awful. Primetime playoff Lamar. You have two costly turnovers by Lamar. You have Zay Flowers turning the ball over too. I just don't... Yes, was there a call of holding? Sure. But that play did not even affect the outcome of, really the game. And also, Lamar had already thrown the ball 20 yards over the receiver's head by that time that it was a hold. I don't know. It seems like every single time somebody has any kind of good game, everybody's like, oh, the rest bailed you out. It could be one call. It could be like they had a false start call that maybe shouldn't have been a false start. I'm not sure how you messed that up, but just as an example. And it's like, oh, well, because this happened. But you won't put accountability on the people who were making the plays. You don't put accountability on the fact that the Ravens only ran the ball 16 times the entire game. They let Lamar pass for 41 times. And also, again, 3 turnovers, 2 of them being in scoring position when you're down by 10 points. I don't know how you blame the rest for that. They didn't make Lamar throw the ball in the triple coverage. They didn't fumble the ball at the one. They didn't decide they were going to sit there and taunt and shove a guy to the ground after they got a big gain. So, I don't know. It's a scapegoat, and people are really only doing it because it's the Chiefs. But it just seems like more and more recent, it just gets bigger and bigger, and more people are just complaining about refs.
I love blaming refs, but that you just got outplayed. I mean, I get it. Refs miss some calls. It's going to happen. Now, I do like to blame refs if they're stupid and miss some things that I think they shouldn't miss. But they just got outplayed. It was simple as that. They didn't go what was working with them all year. They were throwing the ball. That's not what was working for them. Yeah. Not to mention the Chiefs defense against the pass is a good defense. Why are you throwing it? You have Lamar. You can run it. It's not that hard.
I feel like we said it all year, and even in the offseason when we started the pod, that Lamar is probably the best runner in football, right? When he has the ball in his hands, him and Tyreek are probably the 2 most explosive athletes with the ball in their hand. When it comes to being a passer, Lamar is middle of the pack to bottom of the pack in starters. You saw this whole year, you got to where you are because of stellar defensive play, which, by the way, you only give up 17 points in that game. You should win the game. But stellar defensive play, which continued, and then creativity and the explosiveness out of Lamar that you were getting all season, it vanished completely. Your most explosive play was Lamar's pass to himself. I don't understand it. You know what I mean? I don't know why at all you look at it and you say, okay, look, this game right here is for all the marbles. You know how we get them? We pass. No, you don't. You don't against this Chiefs defense that has been great all year. L'Jarius Sneed, who's been the number 1 corner in coverage all year, and you don't have a stud wideout. Zay Flowers, he's coming on. He's looking good. He might be a number 1 to 2 years from now, but he's not a stud wideout. Who's your next guy? An aging OBJ? It didn't make sense to me. I don't understand why in the world your game plan went in there to pass the ball when you have a guy who's going to get the MVP because of what he did explosively with his legs and the ball in his hand.
They went off the game plan for sure. Mm-hmm. I mean, you had Andrews come back, likely having a great year. 2 tight end set. If you're going to pass the ball, that's how you work it into the system. You use those 2. If not, running the ball with the 2 tight end system is perfect. They was stupid. I don't get the play calling. To blame the refs, you're an idiot. I'm sorry, but you're stupid.
I feel it's more if you're gonna as a football fan or a Ravens fan or whatever. If there's anybody's head you need to be calling for, it's your offensive coordinators. Yeah. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah. And I think a big thing too, and no one wants to give the Chiefs their flowers, and I think that's because people don't like the Chiefs. But I mean, you have a defense who, I mean, I talk about how that defensive line has been amazing all year. 4 sacks, 8 QB hits, multiple pressures have forced Lamar to either run the ball or throw the ball deep. I mean, and yes, you only score 17 points, but the Chiefs, Andy Reid, and Mahomes have championship DNA. It may not look pretty, but at the end of the day, they're going to win. They
Where the
play.
hell was that in the early 2000s, Andy Reid? Where
Well,
was that?
well, it's because we didn't have a Kelsey. Our tight end was like Chad Lewis and like LJ Smith.
Mahomes, we had McNabb, Calvin Cobb. Come
Yeah.
on, man.
Our receivers were Todd Pinkston and Hank Baskett. And so I mean, we didn't really get good receivers till the end of his career. We got 1 year with T.O. and we went to a Super Bowl. No, but I mean, we can talk about the Chiefs not this episode, but later on when we talk more about the Super Bowl. But is the window for the Ravens over? I mean, this looked like those are their season. Is it closed for them?
I think the only way that it stays open, and I don't see it happening, but crazier things have happened, is if Lamar can find himself to become a top 15 passer. Like he has to be able to be at least an efficient passer for them to have any shot, because right now they're relying on his mobility and the explosive plays that he also brings along with the pass game. You're going to start to lose some of that as he grows older, as it comes with age. And not to mention, bro, I mean, I think if you go out and you get a true number one wide receiver and you can find a way to make him, learn to pass better, then no, you're still looking at a team that has a great defense, and now they have a good offense. They have a great. I didn't even peep until that playoff game how good of an offensive line they actually do have name wise. Didn't play that great, but name wise, they have a lot of good offensive linemen. You get a good receiver in there. J.K. Dobbins is coming back next year. Gus Edwards is coming back next year. It all kind of just comes back to the quarterback play, dude. And yeah, with Lamar aging, you're gonna lose that speed and that explosiveness, and you have to see if he can replace it with the arm power and quarterback play, like true quarterback play. I don't think he does. So I think in that terms, yes, the window is closing. They'll still be a playoff team, but a Super Bowl contender or championship, I don't see it.
I agree with you. Although what I don't agree with is if they get a true number one, I don't think a true number one there is going to help. I think what you said first made more sense. It's going to rely on Lamar being able to develop as a passer and not a runner. He can throw all day long on the run, but he does not like staying in that pocket. He's not good in that pocket. His pocket presence is terrible. His first thing is to run out and run for the first down or do that. Like he just avoids being sacked. But I would really have to see who is on a contract year, anything like that, for me to say that they don't have a chance, because John Harbaugh is a very good coach, and he's proven since he's been the coach. He's only missed 1 or 2 years from the playoffs since he's been there, and that was with Joe Flacco, and now Lamar that sucks in the playoffs.
I think they missed like the last 2 seasons too with Lamar. They may not make the playoffs either.
No, they made the playoffs last year. Huntley,
yeah, that's right.
To the playoffs last year
Without Lamar,
but I think there was only 1 or 2 years since him being a coach that they haven't made the playoffs, which is awesome. So I think Harbaugh is a good enough coach to keep them in the playoffs. Do I think they're able to make a Super Bowl run with what I'm seeing here? Not with Lamar. I don't think Lamar is going to be that guy unless, like Christian said, they develop him. And like I said, you have to see who's coming back and who's not. Like Patrick Queen's not coming back, or he could be, but he's on it. He's literally on his last year of his deal, so he may not be there.
Yeah,
Patrick Queen's coming back, bro.
For me, he could offer a lot of money somewhere else. There's a big linebacker market out there this year. But for me, it's really hard. Lamar is more than likely going to be a 2 times MVP after the season. I think he ends up getting it. But he just doesn't show up in the playoffs. He's 2-4 now in his career. He has a 57% completion percentage. He averages 220 a game, which is inflated because of the 2019 game he had against the the Titans, when they were down by 24 for most of the game. I mean, you have 9 turnovers to 9 total touchdowns in your playoff career. And 4 of those 9 touchdowns came against the Texas defense, who we knew was not that good of a defense, but overachieved against the Browns the week before. So I don't know, and it's going to be really hard because that division is ridiculous. They have Joe Burrow coming back next season. They went 9-8 without Joe Burrow for most of the season. Then you have the Steelers who made the playoffs. You had the
They didn't beat the
Browns who also
Steelers.
made the play. Yeah, they went 17-10. They only scored 20 total points against the Steelers all season. And then they have the Browns who they lost one of two to as well. Will they be back to this point is so hard to say. Lamar's only 27. He has time to develop, but he's been in the league for like 4 or 5 years now and hasn't shown any sign of improvement. So I don't know. I just think if he can't make that step up as a passer, I just think it's done. I think you're just beating a dead horse. You're trying to make him do stuff that he just can't do or refuses to
Yeah.
get better at doing.
Yeah, I agree. Good job, David, for saying only 27 because you're creeping up there now too.
Yeah,
So it makes
yeah.
you feel a little better when you say only 27.
Only 20. Yeah.
So you know. I get it. I know I was in that position. Now it's like, nah, you're towards the end of your career. It is what it is. Your prime's over
My
with.
career
But only
ended at
27.
18.
You're okay. You're okay at 27.
His prime is a lot better than my prime. I'll tell you that.
Me too.
But
You
no,
need a middle school?
I don't think I've ever ran a 4 like 240. But no, I think after that, I mean, we had the Lions and Niners game. Again, I don't want to go too much on the Niners Chiefs because we have a week and a half before the Super Bowl actually
Yeah.
starts. But I guess we can go with the Lions. Did you guys get an initial reaction to this Lions team? They had their shot up 17. You refused to kick 2 field goals that made you up by 3, up by 6, whatever. But bottom line is you kick those 2 field goals, you win the game. But what are your guys' thoughts on the Lions losing? And then you can follow that up with where you think the Lions' window of opportunity is now.
Look, I'll start that off. And I'm gonna be the only one that says this, and I get it. But Dan Campbell gambled all year, and that's how they got there. And that's the game plan that they stuck by. And one thing I do want to say to that is, you know what? In hindsight, 2020, yeah, maybe you kick the field goals. But on both those times and on both those chances, they had it. The play design was there. The player just failed to make the play. The ball was thrown right to Reynolds, I believe, on both attempts, and failed to make the play on both. Ball just dropped it. Straight dropped it both times. They gambled all season, and look where that landed them. Okay, we're talking. You're 2 catches away from that game probably being a blowout instead of 2 field goals away from a win. I love what Dan Campbell's doing there. It sucks to see how they had to go down like that. Props to the 49ers as well to be able to make the comeback. I'll start to give the flowers to Purdy. He played a decent game, especially coming down late there into the fourth quarter. But for Detroit coming on from now, I don't know where I see them going, honestly. I believe, is this year a contract year for Goff?
I don't know for Goff. It's a
No, I
contract
think
year
he
for a
signed it.
lot
He
of
signed an
guys.
extension. He signed an extension. I think it was last year or the year before when he came back and beat, I think, Minnesota right after that game, after that comeback. I think they were down 17 in the fourth quarter. He literally got a contract extension that time.
I thought he got his contract the day he got traded. That's why I didn't know. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, dude. I don't think Detroit's gonna be missing a couple pieces to probably make a run back there. I mean, not to mention your schedule's gonna get harder. And you have Green Bay, who's on the up and up right now with Jordan Love in your division. You have Chicago, who, if they make the right moves, they could 100% be a team that's going to be very competitive next year. And then you have the Vikings, who, I mean, they show that they come to play each year too. They're always somewhere around there in the run, so it's not going to be an easy walk for them. I will say, though, Nick, you gave props to Harbaugh. I'll give props to Campbell. I think if somebody could bring a team back to that spot, it's going to be Campbell. I think you have a roster right there that you're going to lose pieces, but all you need to do is replace them. If you can find the replacements for those pieces, you're going to be okay. Now, I would have to see who all is leaving, but you have a very young offense. If Goff's under contract, that offensive line is very young. You have Jamar Gibbs and Montgomery. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jamison Williamson is finally showing off a little bit. Did a little bit some 40-yard rush in the championship game. I mean, you have a very good offense around there. But I think you're losing pieces on the defense that you're not going to be able to pick back up. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, he's on a contract year. He's going to want big money this offseason. I think he walks. And you're going to need better positions at cornerback. That was one of their biggest things this year was they didn't have great defensive backs, and they're going to need one.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know with this team. The issue with getting people, on the off season and signing people, Christian, with Dan Campbell, is he's very specific on who he wants on his team, right? He wants those people that are motivated to be there. They're not going to be like, let's say, Terrell Owens. He doesn't want anyone like that. That's going to be a cancer to the locker room. He wants a team player in there. So I don't know. I think that this was their chance to get there with what I've been seeing. But at the same time, you developed some players that went to this spot. Now they've got that feeling of how to get there and stuff like that. So it could help. I don't know, again, with what they have as far as who needs to be signed or who doesn't need to be signed. It looks like David is frozen. But I'm not sure. You were definitely frozen. But I get gambling. That's what got them there in the first place. I get it. We've been there. We've been there as Eagles fans. We've dealt with it. We've seen a 4th and 10 going for it. Analytics say to go for it. You're right. They could have been drops. Well, they were dropped, obviously. But it's just so frustrating, the what if. It's the what if scenario. And it would suck as a Lions fan. You could be in the Super Bowl right now. What if we took that field goal? Now, you're not 100% to make it either, but at the same time, in my opinion, you got to manage that game better. And I think you do take the points at that point.
Yeah. And, I think the biggest thing is, the mental aspect of it, as opposed to being down by 14, being down by 17. I mean, it's the difference between 2 and 3 possessions right there. But I mean, you're right. They've done it all year. They've done it all year, and they chose to do it again this time. It's just, unfortunately, like Christian said himself, you're not going to hold the Niners to 10 points. And I feel like at that point, especially in the playoffs, you have to get those points, because it's not like the regular season where if you lose a game, oh, well, we'll get them next week. You're win or go home. But is their window absolutely shut? I think it is. I really do. And I don't think it's anything against Dan Campbell or the Lions. I don't really think Goff, as well as he did this year, is the answer. He missed multiple open passes. The one they kicked the field goal in to end the second half should have been a touchdown. He had a guy wide open. He had Laporta wide open on another drive to begin the third quarter and overthrew him. And then also just the drops of passes, the barrage of drops they had. It's just awful. But not only that, like I said, with the Ravens, you have a division whose other teams are on the rise. We saw Jordan Love turn into a top 10 quarterback at the end of the year last year. I mean, the dude ended the last 10 weeks of the season with 23 touchdowns, 3 picks, a 113.34 QBR. That's insane stats right there to end the season. He got better as the year progressed. The defense was amazing for them. We have the Bears, who look like they're on the verge of something. They ended 6-11, but they should have been 9-8, 10-17 this year. Then even the Vikings, they are a quarterback away from being an amazing team. They barely missed the playoffs, and they had to start 4 or 5 different QBs throughout the season. I like Dan Campbell. I really do. I just feel like with the way these other teams are going, especially with the younger QBs than he has, it's really hard for me to say that the Lions are going to be back to where they were this year.
Let me ask you a question then, because that's the whole reason I started with, is Goff under contract. If the Lions were to make a trade for a quarterback, what about that point?
I mean, it was depending who they get. I don't know who they'd be willing to trade for. I don't know who's out there that they'd want to trade for that would want that stuff for. I mean, you're trying to think, what are they going to replace Goff with? What quarterback available would be willing to trade that you would replace Goff with? And I don't know if there's anyone out there. The only one I can think of, maybe if the Bears for some reason really wanted Caleb Williams that bad, that they go out there and they trade. I mean, well, that wouldn't make any sense.
Hear me out. Brock Purdy.
Why? What?
No. I don't know.
He's going to a Super Bowl and they're going to trade him. Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like a good fit over there, but he won't go.
I guess there's a lot about football that we talk about. Something we didn't get to do at the beginning of the week, though. Christian, who do you have as your certified baller from last week? Sorry for putting you on the spot.
Yeah, I'm trying to run through stats from last week. Was last week Embiid 71-point game?
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I'll probably have to give it to Luka, because Luka dropped 74. You know what I mean? It's the most points in the game since Kobe's 81. Shout out
Embiid. Just dropped 74.
Huh?
It's who we dropped it against.
Yeah. Facts. But yeah, you're right. It was because Luka dropped it against the team that drafted him inside of their home stadium. How about that? That's funny as hell. But yeah, I mean, you dropped 74 points in a game. I mean, how can you not be? Unless somebody scored more than you, then how can you not be the certified baller of the week? In my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was going to give it to Luka and Embiid as well. Co-certified ballers dropped 70 and 73 points. Ninth and 10th people to do it in NBA history in the same week, which is insane. And Luka is now tied for the fourth most points in a single game. That's insane. So it's really hard. You don't want to pick between the two because were great games. Just Embiid didn't have to worry about the game as much as the other three who scored 60 plus did last week.
It's true.
I'm gonna give it to the Chiefs defense, man. They manhandled
Yeah.
the Ravens offense. The Ravens offense was what, all year top 5, and they just absolutely destroyed them. I mean, the Chiefs won that game. I mean, I wouldn't even say the Ravens lost it. I think the Chiefs just absolutely won that game and just came to play, whereas they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Ravens just lost momentum, and I think the Chiefs took advantage of that and just absolutely manhandled them.
Yeah, Christian, who is your deflated baller?
Undeflated baller is going to be none other than Doc Rivers. In your first game as head coach for the Milwaukee Bucks, you had a double-digit lead against the reigning champ Denver Nuggets, and you blew it, and you lost. And it just...
He lost me money in the process.
It's so...
Don't trust the process with him.
Refreshing to see that happen. I love it.
He lost me money because of that.
Well, he lost me with heartbreak the past several seasons.
Bet on Doc.
Yeah, dude. Don't bet on Doc with the lead. You know how it goes. That's a good one. I'm going to go with Zay Flowers. A lot of people will say maybe Lamar Jackson. Yeah, he made some bad plays, but I really think it came down to that one possession that you had there. You're down by 10. You get a giant lead. Not a giant lead. You get a giant gain. And then you decide to go and taunt and shove a guy's shoulder pads into the ground, get a 15-yard penalty, back you up, and then you get the ball. You're close to scoring, would have been first and goal, but you decide for some reason to stretch the ball out when you're at the 2 to 3 yard line with defenders going in on you. And the game changes from there. I mean, instead of being down by 3, you're now down by 10. You get the ball back to the team with, I think, like 5 or 6 minutes left. And you're just tacking on errors. That's the big point. You're tacking on errors. So I'm going to give the Zay Flowers there.
I like that.
Guys, it pains me because he's one of my favorite coaches out there, but I got to go Dan Campbell. You got to be situational, aware of what's going on. Take the points. Just take the points. And you could be in the Super Bowl right now. This is what you dreamed of. I mean, you played for Detroit. The only thing they want is to go to that Super Bowl. And just take the points and just let the defense play. Unfortunately, you gave the momentum back to the Niners multiple times in that game, and that caused what happened here. So I got to go Dan Campbell, and I'm gonna put in a certified baller. I'm gonna actually give it to the refs and the play for both those games. They were decent at their job. They had 2 good games.
Yeah,
Let's just try to run onto the haters right now.
I can't imagine being a Lions fan. You have all these like cursed years. You finally have a good year, and it really comes down to your team choking a 17-point lead. And a lot of that comes off of a ball that bounces off your defender's face mask, and then also you fumbling the ball like at your own like 20-yard line. I would be absolutely sick.
And you know what though? And to add injury, bro. Add insult to injury. That's what it is. Sorry, add insult to injury. Yeah, my fault. Bro came out and said it's because a ladybug landed on his shoe on live television. How sickening you gotta feel as that DB to be like, bro, there was a ladybug on your shoe, bro. That's how you gonna tell me you caught that ball? Like, that's just so...
That isn't there. Why would you even say that on live TV?
Ladybugs give you good luck, man.
I mean, do we want to do hot take of the week? Hot take of the weekends? I don't know what.
I picked a 4-leaf clover off the ground and.
Where's the dandelion?
No, bro. Somebody tonight in the NBA is going to drop another 60 piece.
60 burger.
Who would you think would be that person to do it?
That's a great question. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to look at ESPN so I can see all the games. But I'll give you the guy. Ready? We got. Give me Shy.
Chai tea? Chai latte? Which one?
Actually, it's Alexander. They're playing the Hornets tonight at home.
I'm looking at my hot take of the week, and that was one that I made at the beginning of the week. Did not come true. What I was gonna say, so I'm gonna have to sit here.
What was it? What was it?
That was that Embiid was gonna score 50 points against the Trailblazers, but obviously he got hurt instead.
What happened? What? Yeah. Something happened there.
I mean, Maxey stepped in and he hit 50 last night.
He tore his meniscus. He didn't tear his meniscus. World may never know.
But my hot take of the week is going to be, wait for it, Gardner Minshew is going to win MVP of the Pro Bowl. I think he's going to go absolutely off in the glorified flag football game that we're going to have on Sunday, and he will get it done. It's in Orlando. He's going to have the Jacksonville fans there to back him up. Going to be great.
See, you almost did exactly what I was going to do, but I'm going Baker, baby.
Ooh,
Give it to Baker. You got the Tampa fans right there coming to support Baker. I'm telling you, Baker's going to win that MVP. Give him another MVP there, man.
Did you guys see Baker that he came out today and said that he's only re-signing with the Bucks after they see who they sign as offensive coordinator?
That's crazy. Because Canales went to Panthers?
Yeah, so he said that the only way, he said once they decide no C, it's when he'll decide if he's going to re-sign with Tampa.
I mean, I think he'll be good for a good $40 million a year, not because he's that good, but because Daniel Jones screwed up the quarterback market.
Gino did.
I have a very, very quick quiz on your face this week. Kind of 5 episodes, not 5 episodes, but 5
Drench
questions.
me, baby.
There we go.
Drench
I got
me.
the word in 5 questions. But you know the rules. Blah, blah, blah. Answer questions. Blah, blah, blah.
Man,
Get them right.
Scored
blah,
him
blah,
out.
blah.
Scored him out.
Number 1. What player has the most receptions in playoff history?
Locked in.
No. All right, I'm locked in.
All right, Nick, who'd you lock in with?
Gary Rice.
Well, he just beat Travis Kelce, buddy. Come on, pay attention.
Oh, that's right.
Travis Kelce just got it.
In other news.
Yeah. Number 2, with the AFC Championship win, Andy Reid is now 5 playoff wins from Bill Belichick's record. Who is 3rd all-time in playoff wins? For a coach, obviously.
Oh, I was thinking player. Just playoff wins, right?
Yeah, just playoff wins. It'd be 3rd most all-time, most playoff wins. And you can't get a hint because Christian already locked in. So.
I know it's not even close to those two. But it can't be. Is it an older player, an older coach?
And maybe. I will say 4th place is Don Shula. I'm not sure if that helps. It's kind of crazy. Don Shula has like 1 Super Bowl, but he has the 4th most playoff wins.
They were undefeated.
Man. This is going to be wrong, but I'll lock in.
All right, Nick, who'd you actually know?
I'm just gonna. Yeah, go ahead.
You said 3rd all time.
3rd all time.
I'm gonna go Walsh.
Nick, who'd you go with?
I was going with Madden.
It's actually Tom Landry, the old coach for the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think of anything in Dallas, so I feel like that should be an asterisk next to that one.
At number 3, what 2 brothers have combined for the most points in NHL history with 2,461?
Dude, one guy probably
can't beat them.
60, the other one has 1. It's probably something stupid like that.
It can't be them. Is this recent? Did it recently change?
I can't tell you that.
Because all right, I'm just gonna go with it. I'm locked in.
Who you locking in with, Nick?
I went with the Niedermeyer brothers, but that's probably wrong.
Christian, who you locking in with?
Crosby brothers.
Crosby brothers. Christian was on the right track. It is the Gretzky brothers. Wayne Gretzky has 2,457. Brent has 4.
Yeah, I was about to be like,
Bro,
I didn't even realize Gretzky. Oh, that's rough. That's rough, dude.
That's great. I saw that stat. I was like, why is this even a thing? That's a great trivia stat.
That's tough.
All right, number 4. What MLB player is the only person to hit 2 grand slams in 1 inning?
This has happened in 1 inning.
Mm-hmm.
Can't be recent.
2 grand slams in 1 inning.
It can't be recent. You know what? I'm gonna lock in. I know this is wrong, but I'm gonna lock in.
I was ready to take a hint. Damn it! All right.
Good too.
2 grand slams, 1 inning. Who could it have been? All right, I'll lock in.
I think I went. Did I go Nick first last time? So Christian, what'd you lock in with?
Babe Ruth.
Nick, who'd you lock in with?
I went Griffey Jr.
Here's my hints, if it will give you it. It is very recent, and they may have some artificial help with it. It's Fernando Tatis Jr.
We should have asked if it was recent.
Who
didn't want to take a hint?
You did, but I couldn't answer that. And so, question number 5 is actually going to be worth 6 points. And it's my last question, so this will be a total of 10. There are 6 NCAA teams whose team names don't end with the letter S and is not a color. So not like the Gators or the Buckeyes. You get a point for each team you can tell me, and I'll give you about, I'll say like 2 to 3 minutes to figure it out. Also, a little hint for you guys: one team is like name is shared between 2 of them. So,
wait, hold on. Across all of NCAA,
there's
only got to come up with
only 6 teams that don't have color names and are and don't end with the letter S. So I'm gonna give you a timer.
This is tough.
All right, timer has started. You have 2 minutes. While they're thinking, I'd like to thank our sponsors. No one, but if you're wanting to sponsor the show,
I already got 2, bro.
You got 2.
I haven't gotten any.
I mean, will me talking like, what should I do for these 2 minutes of time? What should I talk about? What
I got none. I got none.
That's kind of crazy.
All across NCAA.
There's 6 teams. Like I said, one of them shares a team name. So but you have to tell me the college with that, of course. They said it's not. They can be color names. So like Brown and the Stanford Cardinal doesn't count because those are colors. Speaking of college football,
in other news,
yeah,
bro, this is a travesty.
You're gonna kick yourself. It's gonna be funny.
I already know. I'm gonna kick myself. I literally can't think of any.
You can't think of any?
There's one big one.
I was about to say, bro, one's humongous.
I know, but you got to think, I'm learning a new system and training. My brain throughout this week has been fried. It's like, I don't know if Christian remembers this, but when you would take finals, your brain would be fried by the end of the day.
How would I not? My brain would be fried at the beginning of the day.
Yeah, but that's because of something else.
Yeah.
Can I lock in with 2 and he has to lock in with 0?
I mean, you get as many points as ones you can tell me. You get 2 full minutes. Okay, that's the timer. That is up. Timer stop. Nick, tell me your complete list that you've thought of.
0.
Oh, that's not a team name. Christian.
I got two. Nick, the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Right? Whoa, it has a color in it.
A color.
Oh, damn it. Irish.
That's 1.
Then I got 1, and there it is.
Yeah. So the one big one for me was the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. We have the Illinois Fighting Illini, the Navy Midshipmen, University of Nevada, and North Carolina State Wolfpack. And then the last one is the Marshall Thundering Herd.
Oh, man.
I literally said NC State in my head, and I was like, no, that's not right. And then
What's
why didn't I have to? I was thinking about going through the Big Ten, and I was like, why would I go through the Big Ten? And I think if I would have went through that, I would have gotten Illinois. It's okay. It's brain fog, too much in
It's
here.
brain
Calculating
fog,
loan
and
to
I put a time
value
limit on you
and
guys
debt
this
to
time.
income and per diem and all that. My brain is gone for the
What a
week.
freaking nerd!
I win 2-0. Let's go.
What a disappointing trip.
Man,
I know Christian said he wants to talk about basketball. We have less than a minute. I'm not sure how much Nick has time. If you have to go, Nick, you can go. But I know we only have less than a minute right now.
all right, yep. We got to get into dubs and chugs real quick, guys. You know how it goes. And I'm going to incorporate some college ball in here because we got some good games. So starting off in some games tomorrow, we got Utah State versus San Diego State.
Give me San Diego State because why not?
Give me Utah State, looking good this year. Top 25 team. Give me Utah State.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, David. Even though San Diego State's at home, I think Utah State's going to win this one. Next game we have slated for tomorrow. We got Iowa State versus Baylor.
Oh, give me Baylor, baby.
Give me the Cyclones. Give me Iowa State there.
Awesome. Yeah. I think Baylor at home is going to get this one, 12 versus 18. I think Baylor just knocks them out. Next game we got Tennessee versus Kentucky.
Kentucky all day.
Wow.
Kentucky's been struggling against some teams recently, so I'm going to give it to Tennessee in this one.
I agree. Yeah, I think Tennessee is going to get this one done. Next game, we got Houston versus Kansas.
Ooh.
Give me Houston.
Give me Kansas in this one. I like Rock Chalk Jayhawk.
I'm right there with you, David. I like Kansas in this one as well. And what would it be without us putting this in here? Biggest rivalry in college basketball. You got Duke versus UNC.
Are either of them good?
They're both top 25 teams. And UNC was
They're both top 10 teams, but that's okay.
Give me UNC.
UNC's been struggling. They just lost to Georgia Tech. I'm going to go with Duke here.
Yeah, I would agree with you, David, on that. But I just feel like after struggling and losing that game, I think they're going to bounce back and beat Duke at home in Chapel Hill. So getting into NBA, we got tonight's games. Man, we got Suns versus Hawks. Let's go.
Give me the Suns.
I like the Suns in this one too.
Yeah, I like the Suns also. Next game, we got a Hot Magic versus Timberwolves.
Give me the Magic.
I'll go T-Wolves here. They just got back the number one spot in the West.
Yeah, I don't bet against them. I'm going with the Timberwolves in this one. Next game, man, what a good game this is. The Lakers versus the Knicks tomorrow night.
Give me the Knicks.
Knicks are one of the hottest teams in ball. Give me the Lakers. I'll take the Lakers in this one.
I believe this is the seventh game, right? You know what, David? I think I'm with you. I think I'm going to take the Lakers in this one as well. Next game, we got the Bucks versus the Mavs.
Give me the Mavs.
I'm gonna go with the Bucks in this one.
I think I'm going to take the Mavs in this one. Doc Rivers, terrible decision to make him the coach. And I think the Mavs are going to win. I think I only need one more. I think that was game 8. We'll go Kings versus Bulls.
Give me the Kings. I like the Kings.
They just fired their coach, right? I'm gonna give me the Bulls.
I'm with you, David. I like Chicago in this one. I believe that was 9, right? That was 9 games.
Mm-hmm.
Tiebreaker game. We know how it goes. Well, we might as well have a little bit of fun. We got Eli versus Peyton in the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, baby. Christian, what do you think the score in the Pro Bowl is going to be?
Give me Peyton 36-22.
Is it still NFC, AFC? I'm assuming Peyton's going to be AFC.
Yeah.
Last year it was a really close game, 35-33 in favor of the NFC. Give me Peyton Manning's team. Give me the AFC 42-40 this year.
Yeah, it's going to be high scoring, right? But I think AFC is going to win this one this year. You know what? No, they're not. NFC is going to win this one.
Oh.
I think NFC is going to win. I don't know. Let's go 45-38.
All right. I don't think they kick field goals, right? I'm not sure. I don't know the rules of
No,
it.
no.
I don't know how it works. But all I know is that's what I'm going with. And as always, you guys enjoy the weekend. I'm going to be hitting the links this weekend. It's going to be fun. You guys
Yeah.
drink beer. I mean, do whatever you want. Just do you. You do you. I'll see you guys
Do
later
whatever
on.
you want. Oh man. I guess he's gone. You said you wanted to talk about some basketball. What you got in your mind?
Yeah, I got a bunch of things in mind. So I feel like a lot was exposed last night around the NBA for a couple of teams. For one, I'm going to start with the Lakers here. I think, truthfully, it might be time for LA to move on from either LeBron or AD, one of the two. I don't think it's smart to move on from both. Both are still technically all-star players in today's game. However, LeBron's aging a lot, and AD cannot constantly stay on the court. And they still both hold value to them. You know what I mean? Both of them. I mean, especially LeBron. If you could probably get a whole package deal for LeBron just because of the name alone. But I just feel like with how young of a team that you do have on that bench and how good that they were able to play, especially in a hostile environment like Boston last night and against one of the best teams in the league. So I feel like for me, that's kind of one thing I saw there last night. I feel like what?
Sorry, Brooklyn's talking to me right now.
Oh yeah, you're good. You're good. I feel that's one thing I saw last night. I feel like LA definitely has enough role on their bench and team to ship out one or the other and add to that team, add to that young lineup that they have, give them some more solidified stars or playmakers.
Mm.
And then two, Philly needs to make a trade. That's what I also saw last night. Maxey had a great game. And what's his name got his? Toby Harris got his. But I mean, dude, we're starting to see that now. It's like it's going to be one-dimensional ball. If Maxey doesn't go off in the games that Embiid's out, how likely are we to win? And we're talking about a guy who, yeah, we know he can go ahead and score 25, 30 points per game if we need him to play that role. But you're not going to get a 50 bomb out of him every night.
Right.
At a 50 bomb with no turnovers at that. That's a great game. And you're not going to get that. You need to get some more help in there for them. And I feel like the window, I mean, with the trade deadline coming out, coming to a close, you are running out of time. And with the situation that Embiid is in, you don't want to rush him back, but you can't afford to lose a bunch of games at the same time. You've already fallen all the way down to the fifth seed, I believe we're at, fourth or fifth. Like,
Yeah.
You're already losing too much ground when you were at 1 point to 1 seed. So you have to figure it out in time. I feel like you have a roster there that can do its thing. You have a very solid depth in the bench. You just got to find one more piece. You have to. And then once you get that, you can continue to let Embiid take his rest time. You don't have to rush him back. You don't have to worry about anything. And then when you get back with 100% Embiid and 100% Maxey, and you bring in some guy who can spot up shoot, this team could be lethal.
Yeah. I mean, to the Lakers point you made. I mean, I agree. I think this team, they got lucky they had a Mickey Mouse championship in the bubble. After that, they haven't been anything. They really haven't been a good team at all. They missed the playoffs completely last year, if I remember correctly. And so it's like, LeBron's aging. Now he's playing really good for his age, but you gave up so much to go get LeBron. You ruined your future. You got rid of Brandon Ingram. You got rid of Randall. You got rid of D'Lo at one point. You brought him back. You got rid of who's the other one I'm thinking of? Kuzma. You got rid of a bunch of good young guys to go out and get LeBron and AD, and you have one title to show for, which is fine. One title is one title. But when you have AD and LeBron, the expectations there were supposed to be really high, and I feel like it kind of failed even with only one title.
Yeah.
I think LeBron needs to go. I think AD is young enough to be a good centerpiece. I just think LeBron, it just a lot comes with him, and now you're at the point where he has a big contract. Somebody's going to have to trade for a really old LeBron who probably only has realistically 2 or 3 seasons left, and they're going to have to agree to that trade. And I just don't see that happening for anyone to want to do that. So I don't know. I feel like they should get rid of him. I feel like they just don't have anything to get rid for. No one's going to want to do that unless for some reason Miami or Cleveland wants some guy getting rid of, which I just don't see it there. when it comes to the Sixers, yeah, I mean they need somebody, especially with Embiid being gone. Now Reed, I feel like Reed can step in, but you just need another. I feel like guard or like you said, some sort of spot up shooter to be able to put in that offense right now because Maxey has to create his own shots, which is fine, but you won't see Maxey as a spot up guy. He's the guy who needs the ball in his hands and create shots. It's going to be interesting what they decide to do. The only thing I can also think of is Tobias Harris needs to step up. I mean, he has been a good 3 option this year. But if we don't go out and get somebody, somebody's gonna have to step up. Oubre is gonna have to step up. Tobias is gonna have to step up. You're gonna have to see some guy step up and fill that role of the other scorer because, like you said, Maxey isn't scoring 50 all night. I mean, he scored 50 points. You only win by 3, so you're gonna need more help there. And so it's gonna be interesting. Oh man, I just don't know what the Sixers are going to do. And you just told me earlier, I guess breaking news that you've told me the Kings fired their head coach.
Yeah, the Kings have fired their head coach, sitting at, I believe, the 8th seed in the West right now. But I don't know, man. See, to me, I don't know how I feel about that, and I want to know how the Kings locker room feels about that because they had something special growing last year, and
Yeah.
I thought they had all bought into that and bought into the culture that was becoming, brought in to that. Now, granted, I know they went with an interim head coach. They have an interim head coach, I should say, as of right now. Guy, I forget, I think it's like one of their assistant coaches. He's, being the interim guy, but I don't know. It definitely came as a shock to me. But it seems to be like what we're seeing right now out of teams that if they believe, hey, we should be the number 1 seed or the number 2 seed, and we're not there. We already saw it with the Bucks, right? They went ahead and fired their guy, and we sat here and we're like, whoa, like what's hidden in the papers right now that we don't know of? The only thing that was hidden in the papers was they said they don't like him. He wasn't winning enough. He wasn't a good fit for the culture, so he's out. And it's like, you're sitting at the 2 and 3 seed. Yeah. So, that just might be the path that we're coming down to now. If because you do have De'Aaron Fox and you do have Sabonis and you do have Barnes,
they have Barnes.
Yeah, Harrison Barnes. Yeah, he's older, but he's their spot up shooter. Like you have a solid team there, and you have a team that I guess in their eyes is underproducing right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think you nailed it in the head there. Now the Kings they're at the 5 seed right now, but they're tied for the 6th seed. They're a game back of the 7th seed, or a game ahead of the 7th seed, 2 games ahead of the 8th seed. So it's not like there's a lot of parity within there. But yeah, I think it's what you said. They were a 3rd seed last year. I mean, they were a 3rd seed last year, and now they're at a 5th seed. Granted, OKC and Minnesota are playing out of their minds, and then you have a Clippers team who just added Harden, and then the reigning champions. I mean, what's crazy there is that the top 4 seeds in the West are all within 2 games of each other. Then you have a 4-game stretch between the 5 and 4 team. But yeah, with the Bucks, you said underperforming. That one just does still surprise me because you're at the 2 seed, right? And it's not like the Celtics at the 1 seed is like, oh, why aren't we ahead of them? Because they hadn't lost a game at home until 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I mean, it blows my mind that they did do that. They say he lost the locker room, and it comes to question is at what point are you letting this happen? When did LeBron kind of start where we are siding with the players for this head coaching stuff? Because now you have people who say, oh, he lost the locker room, so we have to fire him now. You saw in the MLB with Joe Girardi, he lost the dugout. They fired him and brought up Thompson. I feel like it's something you see. People who haven't done too bad are getting kicked out of their team because the players just don't want to play for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, man. It's interesting. I just, and it makes me wonder, who's next, right? What coach is going to be on that hot seat next? And it's realistically, it's even that far out either. You know what I mean? That's 2 coaches gone before we've even hit the midway point of the season. And 2 coaches of 2 teams that, again, I mean, they're top 5
contenders.
Seasons.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I feel like it's not done. I feel like the path is not over. And I feel like at the same time, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Kings coach will probably go get a job sometime here soon. I believe it. Because one team's going to start to fail, and they're going to go, you know what? We'll pick him up. I like what he did for the Kings. I think the Kings made a mistake. Boom, we'll bring him in. I mean, it seems what they did with Doc Rivers.
Yeah. I mean, we see with the NFL nowadays, I mean, heck, we thought Sirianni was going to be in the hot seat after starting off 10-1 this year, going to the Super Bowl last year. We said that McCarthy was going to be on the hot seat after having 3 straight between 12 and 5 seasons. not that you're doing well anymore. It's that you have to reach those expectations you have. And if you're not reaching expectations, no matter how good you are, you're going to get fired. They have some sort of goal line that they're set. And if you miss that goal line, you get fired. And you know what? That's not a bad thing. That's how real jobs work. Obviously, I'm not a coach, but if I go underneath the goal that my employer has set for me, then my job's at stake. Now, of course, I'm not the head coach of a multi-billion-dollar basketball team, but the point still stands. I guess there's a lot of expectation. There's a lot of money in this game. And if your team is going out there not making it past the second round every year, you're going to get fired no matter how good you are doing in the regular season. I mean, championships talk. They really do. I mean, we're at the point this anymore where I just feel like there's going to be no such thing as a long tenured coach. I really feel like we're coming to an era where we won't have these long tenured coaches anymore. We won't have your Phil Knights out there. We won't have your Popoviches, your Bill Belichick's, your Harbaughs. I feel like nowadays, even if you have a tenured career, if you have one bad season, it may not even be a bad season. Maybe you go like 9-8 in the NFL, but you underperform, you'll be gone. And that's because they expect something out of coaches every year, and almost every team's in win now mode, no matter what.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I agree with you, dude. It's getting kind of crazy. There's not. NFL is kind of going. A lot of teams are starting to really go away with the whole, like the Lions just did. The Lions brought in Dan Campbell. They said, "Look, bro, we understand it's going to take time. Take the time, develop it."
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they did over a 3-year span, dude. They sucked. They were meh. All the way to the NFC Championship game this year. You're not seeing that anymore out of teams. You're not getting that. Like that's you bring your guys and we're gonna win right away. We're gonna win right away. Carolina just hired a coach, first year drafted. I mean, not drafted a coach, but brought in their coach last year, right? First year head coach last year. They had the number 1 overall pick, and they were the worst team in football, and everybody knew that. And they won a game, and they got fired. Well, I mean, what else were you supposed to do with that team? Like, you came in, you just bought into failure. You know what I mean? Like. And that's just how it's going to keep going. It's with teams like that, like teams like Carolina, teams like Charlotte with the Hornets, dude. Like teams that just suck. They're going to keep sucking, and they're going to constantly have coach changes, constantly have personnel changes, nonstop. Is going to keep trying to find those pieces that get it. But I feel like at the end of the day, you have to develop those pieces. Right. You have to take time. You have to let the process run its course, or else you're going to end up screwing yourself. Because once you buy into the whole, like once you're in the buy-in process, that means you're paying out future. You're not just buying in for free. You're buying in now, and you're giving away your future.
Yeah.
You're going to screw yourself doing that, because if you don't make it work once you've bought in, perfect example again with Carolina, look at all the trades they just gave away. Now, granted, Bryce Young, we don't know exactly, but he didn't look great. No. He didn't look like he should have been the number 1 overall pick like CJ Stroud looked like. But you just traded away, 3 first-rounders and your best wide receiver to date? Like, come on, man. What are you doing? It doesn't make sense. I don't understand why we went away from the whole developmental process. Mm-hmm. And teams like, I will say too, though, teams like the Rams, right? When they bought into Stafford, okay, we knew you were a quarterback away. Team like Tampa Bay, we knew they were a quarterback away, so they bought into Brady. Like, that makes sense. But every team isn't that team. And I feel like you just need to have someone up top and personnel be able to look at it and say, look, dude, yeah, our team is good. But if just because we're going to stick a new guy in here, we're not going to win the championship. Like, there's other teams that are still built better than us.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. I mean, you can't look at your Tom Brady year and your Stafford year and make that the baseline. That's the anomaly. That's not the baseline. You can't sit there and be like, that's what's going to happen every single year. We talked about it before the beginning of the season. The Rams sold their soul for a Super Bowl. They had a terrible season. They got absolutely lucky that they landed Pakua in the 4th. And then they landed Williams in the 6th. They're absolutely lucky that they got 2 studs in the late rounds, because that doesn't happen all the time. Again, that's the anomaly. That's not the baseline. And I mean, it's really rare. That Tampa team had amazing players before Brady was there. They had a team around Brady when Brady got there. And it wasn't like they were a bad team. It was just Brady was a great quarterback. They had Mike Evans. They had Godwin. They had Brate. They had O.J. Howard. They had a good team. They had a good defense. If they didn't have that quarterback position, you had James Winston, who was throwing 30 picks in a season. So, I mean, it's interesting. Again, like I said, everybody's in this win now mode, and they think that the Rams and the Bucks is the baseline now. And when that's not it, that's the anomaly. So it's going to be very interesting because, again, like you said, you don't see development anymore. You get one season now in the NFL and you're fired for your job. Urban Meyer got one season, he was gone. Matt Rule got one season, he was gone. Coach Reich, one season, he was gone.
Why did you say Urban Meyer, bro? Because there was so much more backstory with him, dude. Like, it wasn't just bad.
Throwing it backstory. I saw him at the club in Columbus. No,
Dude. Bro, I mean, dude, even look at Doug Peterson, right? Like, you win a Super Bowl and you win it 2 years removed from that and they're calling for your job. It's the same situation Sirianni's in. He didn't win it, but he was just there a year removed. Yeah, we don't want him. Get him out. Why? Like, I don't understand that. You have to let the whole culture build. I feel like as fans, every fan realistically wants a championship. If your team is set up decent, you expect a championship, regardless of whether or not you're the best team. I mean, the Eagles, I expected a championship this year. We were not the best team in football, but I expected it. And I feel like that's what kind of plays into all the narrative, too, around it. Like with Sirianni and his job, we expected a championship. He didn't get there. He got us to the playoffs, still had a good year. Yes, we had a mega collapse, but you don't call for his job yet. Like, there's no reason to, So it just, people have to get back to that. Franchises have to see that, dude. I don't know how they don't.
Yeah. I guess another thing I'll talk about NFL, just real quick. What's your thoughts? All the positions are filled, and Belichick and Vrabel both don't have a job right now.
So, all over social media, I saw two things. I saw one, that nobody hired Belichick because they think the Patriot way and the Patriot culture that he brings to the table is old, dead, and outdated. I also saw that he only interviewed with the Falcons, wanted to interview with the Falcons, and he chose not to accept the job. But Vrabel, I don't know. And that blew my mind that Vrabel didn't get a job, because I truly do think Vrabel is like, what's a real good grocery store? Like a top-notch grocery store.
So Aldi's. Aldi's pretty good.
Okay. He's like an Aldi's Dan Campbell. Okay. He's a leader of men, but like he's not as good as Dan Campbell is at it. But you put him on a good team, bro, you gotta understand. The Titans were playing with Ryan Tannehill at quarterback. I think Malik Willis took a couple didn't start, but he took a couple snaps at some point in there. Third string and third round pick Will Levis in there. I mean, your best wide receiver was aging DeAndre Hopkins. It took me a minute to think who was playing there, but you had an aging DeAndre Hopkins there. Your number two guy, that I could not tell you.
Yeah, Treylon Burks, the guy who they chose to replace.
Treylon Burks, the guy they traded away for AJ. Great. How did his season look? I mean, there was nothing there. They traded away Byard. They were obviously in a complete rebuild mode, but to me, it just didn't make sense why Vrabel was part of that rebuild, or like part of that push out for the rebuild, when this is a guy that he's been there 6 years, missed the playoff twice maybe.
Yeah. Last 2 seasons.
Right. Twice. I believe one AFC championship appearance. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Now I get it again, win now mode, but what were the expectations this year? I mean, what truly were the expectations of the Tennessee Titans this year? You weren't a Super Bowl contending team, no chance in hell. And everybody assumed coming into the season, Jaguars had that division on lock. Like, there was no other way around it. Either way, coming in, you had no thought that division was going to be yours or the playoffs were going to be yours.
They were like a 5 or 6 win team coming into the season.
Right. So I just don't understand what the expectations could have been there, and I don't understand why you fire him. Now, on the flip side, too, I don't understand why nobody didn't hire him. I think the Chargers made the right decision in hiring Harbaugh. I think the Raiders made the right decision in hiring Pierce.
Yeah.
But I think Vrabel is a better head coach than anybody else that signed.
What blows my mind is, I told you, when we found out the Commanders hired Dan Quinn, I immediately was like, that's such a lateral move. I feel like you're almost getting the same type of coach from Ron Rivera as you were from Dan Campbell. So it makes no sense of why you went there when you do have a Belichick and you do have Vrabel available. I feel like Vrabel would have been a great coach to put in there, a great defensive-minded coach to put in a pretty good defense when they are coached right. I mean, obviously they got rid of all their good pieces now. I mean, Sweat's gone and so is Chase Young. But I mean, as a team that has a lot of talent on that team that just underperforms year in, year out, and they went with what? They went Dan Quinn, somebody whose defense just got blown out in the biggest game of their season last year, somebody who once had a lead in the Super Bowl by 25 and lost. So I blows my mind to me that that's the way they win.
So you think Washington drafts a quarterback?
I don't know what Washington does, and that's what's tough to me. I feel like they should have gave Jacoby Brissett more of a chance than they did with Heineke all year. Heineke with Sam Howell all year. My bad. And so it's interesting to me. I feel like year in year out they just don't make the right decisions, and they have offensive talent to do it. Robinson's a good running back. Gibson's a good running back. They have Curtis Samuel. They have Dotson. They have McLaurin. They're really wasting talent over there. Truthfully, they just need offensive line, and that would help. They're the most sacked team the past 2 seasons. That does not help at all. They wanted to blame Carson Wentz for the sacks last year, while they were the most sacked this year with Sam Howell. So who are you going to tell me who's at fault there? But yeah, I don't know. I think Vrabel deserved a head coaching job. It's unfortunate I didn't get one. Again, I said wouldn't be surprised if I saw him like at Ohio State at some point with taking Ryan Day's job if they underperform. But I mean, I don't know.
You don't think he goes and signs that defensive coordinator somewhere?
I feel like he'll wait a year. I feel like there's going to be a job opening somewhere in the NFL in the next year, and I feel he'll take that job.
All right, then I gotcha.
And so,
there was one more thing I was going to say, but I feel like I'm drawing a blank on it now, so I guess we're going to talk about it.
yeah, I mean, I have one more thing to talk about. We only have like 6 minutes left. I'm gonna a little bit of not a deep dive, a little bit of just touching the topic of it. The scandal that's going on in hockey right now, which is absolutely wild. You have 5 people accused of sexual harassment. Actually, I don't know if I can. Maybe I have to bleep out sexual. I'm not sure how YouTube likes that. But big one, Carter Hart of the Flyers. I have his sweater. That's unfortunate. I don't think I can wear that anymore. You have Michael McLeod. I may get scrutinized. But Michael McLeod, Cal Foots of the Devils, Dylan Dubé of the Calgary Flames have all been saying, hey, like they were a part of this. Now, a lot of these guys are saying that they're innocent. Most of them are saying they're innocent. You're guilty. Sorry, no, you're not. You're innocent until proven guilty. Unfortunately, it doesn't work with the eyes of the media or works with the court of public perception either. A public opinion does not work with there. You're guilty, unfortunately. They're innocent right now, but it's just unfortunate. That's a lot of young guys. A lot of guys who've only been in the league for like 4 or 5 years who are now in a heavy legal battle of a possibly false claim or they actually harass someone.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Let me ask you though, what do you think's worst? Strutting a Carter Hart jersey after this incident or strutting a Riley Cooper jersey?
Probably Riley Cooper, but only because I don't feel like not a lot of people are going to know what's going on in hockey enough to say anything about it.
Yeah, what loser would wear a Riley Cooper jersey?
Yeah, I feel like more comparable would wearing a Carter Hart jersey or wearing a Deshaun Watson Browns jersey. I feel like that would be more of the comparable one there. But no, it's a shame. Like I said, they're just so young, and if they did do it, I mean, you just ruined you had a career that you ruined before you even started. Is the real reality of the situation. That's crazy to me. But I don't know. All I can say is that the courts and the lawyers are all going to do their due diligence, and I just hope they come to the right decision. And that's all you can really say on it.
Yep. Yeah. No. I hope whatever justice needs to be brought is brought. Yeah, for sure.
But I think it's Canadian court too. I think because I think they're all Canadians.
I thought it was in London.
Well, it may have happened in London, but they may have all been Canadians because there is the Canadian junior team.
Yeah.
So that's a whole mess. But yeah, I have nothing else to talk about. Do you have anything you want to bring up?
I don't think so, man.
You gonna watch the Pro Bowl?
Huh?
You gonna watch the Pro Bowl?
Hell no.
What?
It's like basketball or something on.
I was obviously Orlando's like 4 hours away, and now tickets have dropped like $23 a ticket for the Pro Bowl.
That's how much they are?
Yeah, $23 a ticket for the Pro Bowl.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's a dumb game. I wish they would move it afterwards so everybody would play, and I wish it wasn't flag football anymore. It's unfortunate, but hey, I don't have anything else to do, so there's no football this week, and that's kind of sad. We only have one more week of actual football left until September.
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be a very hard time frame. Now, thankfully, the Phillies, they're
pitchers in about 2 or 3 weeks now. Pitchers are going to go to camp.
We're real quick. Orioles
Oh,
made
yeah.
big moves actually, real quick out of the Orioles. New change in ownership, and then as soon as the ownership changes hands, a huge trade out of nowhere for a former Cy Young pitcher, which is exactly what that team needed. Was more pitching. They have the bats, they have the young, great, talented bats. They just need the pitching depth. And bam, out of nowhere, 2 days after becoming new owners, they make a great trade for Baltimore. If I'm an Orioles fan, dude, I'll tell you right now, the future's bright.
Yeah.
You guys you have an ownership. You've always been good at drafting and getting good talent into Baltimore. But now you have an ownership that's going to decide we're going to pay to keep them here. We're not going to be a poverty franchise. We're not going to suck. We're going to start paying players. We're going to start doing what we need to do. We're going to win. And that's how, I mean, dude, if you're an Orioles fan, man, get excited.
Yeah, I would be excited too. I mean, as of right now, I mean, you're the reigning regular season AL 1 seed. We all three didn't think they were going to go anywhere in the playoffs. We thought they were too young. They have like the second best catching prospect or first best catching prospect in all of baseball right now. And they have Rushman. So they can, if they want to trade those guys. Oh yeah, you said they have Holiday, right? Holiday's, dude,
the number 1 prospect in all of baseball.
Dude, they have a great young core that's about to come up for an already good young core they have now. You add in that pitching. I mean, it's going to be a dangerous team here in the future. I hope they can keep them to be great for the city of Baltimore. Hopefully, they don't have any underperforming players in the postseason. They're kind of used to that by now. But I don't have anything else to say. So yeah, hopefully the Phillies will make a move. No, we don't know. They've done nothing. We poke them with a stick. They're dead. I don't know. But I guess have a good
all Philly sports, bro. I can't
make some moves and have a good weekend. And I guess what Nick said earlier, just do whatever you want. He doesn't really care. Burn down a building. Tax fraud.
We dive into the game from hoops to
See a great ending.
With witty banter and humor, we keep the fun. HTV fam, we always bring the number 1. Highlight taking pockets, we taking over the scene. We drop dubs and chugs, live in the sports dream. From hot takes to deep dive, it's a winning regime. Come join the hype, we not just blowing steam.